Before I begin, I'd like to point out that this is all very nitpicky and it's not going to influence my final thoughts on the game when it finally launches. But I still find it hilarious because it is such an EA thing to just fuck up like little things. And to me, how much a publisher or development studio cares about their game shows through whether they recognize that the devil is in the details. From what I've seen, companies and studios who are really anal about the little things are the ones that make the best games. They just have higher standards for what's acceptable. So in case you don't know, EA has officially announced Star Wars Battlefront 2, and to celebrate the announcement, they released their brand new in-engine cinematic trailer. So while the trailer isn't CGI per se, it's also not fully representative of what actual gameplay looks like. So you get a good idea on the game's overall look and feel, but the trailer is also not 100% representative of the final product. All in all, it is a great looking trailer though, but I've learned my lesson to never judge a game by its trailer. I'm gonna wait until I see actual extensive gameplay footage and then start formulating some opinions. Now, as great as the trailer looks, in one particular shot, it's possible to spot a small animation mishap on one of the stormtroopers. It's around the 31-second mark, and for the most part, the shot looks pretty great. But once we zoom in on the stormtrooper in question, the mishap becomes quite blatant. I'm referring to the stormtrooper who is running on the left here, whose model can be seen skipping up and down in a somewhat glitchy fashion. This one thing doesn't by any means ruin the trailer or my expectations of the game. It's just baffling to me that it's actually possible to spot little glitchy things in a cinematic trailer. And I know this is such a small and inconsequential thing, but it's hilarious because only EA would make small animation mishaps in a cinematic, touched-up trailer. Only EA would let that fly and just be like, good enough. Little animation quirks like these are common during gameplay, but the fact of the matter is that this is in-engine footage, but not gameplay footage. All I'm saying is the standards are a little higher when we're dealing with a cinematic trailer versus actual gameplay. The trailer is only 2 minutes long, and they had all the time in the world to just flesh everything out, make sure all the footage in the trailer was perfect, make sure all the animations looked refined. But the fact that they didn't really pay mind to that for the trailer is what's kind of baffling to me. So yeah, I mean, if they can't even touch up their trailers to perfection, it just kind of makes me a little paranoid and wonder, what is the standard that they find acceptable to ship their final game? What I mean is, I hope that these little imperfections isn't indicative of how much or how little the developers care about fully fleshing this game out before it launches. After Mass Effect Andromeda, I'm just a little paranoid about developers' inability to flesh things out that they don't think is a big deal, but ends up compounding a lot of the game's problems, and it turns into a whole mess. But again, it's just a trailer, it's not representative of the final product, and all the things that I pointed out are nitpicky, but I also feel like little things like this do say something about a development studio's state of mind and their commitment towards perfection. I don't know, I hope I'm just being paranoid because I really want this game to be fantastic. Nothing would please gamers more if they nailed Battlefront 2 after the disappointing Battlefront 1. And I mean, aside from the nitpicky little animation quirks that I pointed out, everything else about the trailer does look pretty good. At the very least, I think graphics and core gameplay mechanics isn't something that I need to worry about because they did nail that aspect with Battlefront 1. So if they can continue refining that, great. But to really improve upon the original, they have to give us a compelling single-player experience, which is something that they are striving towards with this game, which is good. It is going to have some form of a single-player campaign, and they have to offer enough multiplayer content to justify the $60 asking price. That was really the biggest problem with Battlefront 1. It was so lacking in content that most people couldn't justify the fact that they had just shelled out $60 for this game. With Battlefront 2, I hope they learned their lesson. A single-player campaign is already a good sign, and as far as multiplayer goes, just a lot of content and a lot of variety right from the get-go will go a long way. Until I see their commitment towards that, no matter how cool the trailer is, I'm gonna wait before I get excited. With that, I would like to end this Star Wars Battlefront 2 discussion video. Thank you for tuning in. What are your thoughts on the animation quirks spotted in the new trailer? Do you think they're worth pointing out, or do you think they're not worth nitpicking? Let us know in the comments below, and to be further updated on further video game news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out!